I am officially bulletproofed. Yes, that's why my skin is glowing and I'm looking ripped and jacked. It's because every morning I take my mycotoxin-free bulletproof coffee and mix it up with MCT oil and grass-fed butter. Why, do you ask? Well, it does a lot of things. It replaces my meal for the morning, and it gets my brain all the right nutrients they need, those oils, that fat, and then I don't eat until 1 or 2 o'clock. So it's not really just coffee, it's turning into a lifestyle.
I've had some of my most important experiences with LSD in a flotation tank alone, or MDMA camping out by myself. But that was after I had a lot of experience taking it in groups. And I think you also have to be careful. When I did those things, I wasn't moving. I wasn't walking around.
Yeah.
I wasn't, endangering myself. And I also went through a process where I felt like I had this very bad wrong idea that was sort of taking me over. It was like almost like a psychosis sort of working through me. And I at least knew enough not to stop it, not to get up. This was in the flotation tank, and it took me hours and hours and hours before I realized all the defenses that I was using to protect myself from this core pain that I had made this major mistake. So I think doing it alone can be very helpful, but at the same time, you have to be, it's good to have somebody somewhere that's not doing the drug that is watching over you and guarding your physical safety and protecting you from people coming to the door, from the phone, so I wouldn't, recommend that a lot of, that I think it can be done alone, but I think that is more of an advanced situation, that when
Okay.
people try it for the first time, or the first bunch of times.
You've intrigued me with this mistake. Well, what's this mistake? Or have you uncovered it?
There
There must be something that drives a man like you.
Well,
And
this is the mistake that drives many men.
There's a darkness that drives many, many men.
Well, this was the mistake of saying to a woman that you love, "No, I will not sleep with anybody else," and then resenting that.
I'm sure you're not the first guy that did that.
Yeah, and then going off and doing that, and then the relationship that comes out, and the relationship ends. So that was the mistake, and coming to terms with that I had destroyed what was one of the most beautiful things that I had in my life. That was hard, and the psychosis part of it, in a way, was that I somehow got this idea that this woman that I had to leave this experience in the flotation tank because she was likely to commit suicide, that I had to somehow rescue her, that she couldn't live without me, that I'd broken her heart and destroyed this relationship, and that she was in danger. And so it took me hours and hours and hours to realize that she was not in danger. She was done with me.
So you had to fight the urge to get out of the tank. And because you had done psychedelics before, you knew to fight that urge.
Yeah.
You knew, no, everything's fine. Stay in the tank. Stay with the experience.
Yeah, and finally, after hours, I realized that it was about how I didn't think I could live without her. But that it took me a long time to get to that. And so it came as the opposite. She can't live without me. She's about to commit suicide. I have to save her. But that was running away from the deeper fear that I couldn't live without her. And that I would be so flawed that I wouldn't be able to have a relationship ever again, because I was such a weak person.
Did you deal with this in that session, or is it something that comes up periodically?
I did, and I did do it during that set. I was 17 hours in the tank.
Wow.
Did
you know it was when you got out?
I didn't know how long it was. I should say that the tank is also filtered, so you can pee in the tank. It's heavily
You were in the
salt
tank
water.
for 17 hours?
Yeah.
In the dark?
In the dark, and just sort of going. Part of the time I would be sort of halfway sleeping, but I knew not to leave. And then once I got out, it was there was this one moment where I felt that this guilt, and that there was this self-hatred connected to this sense of guilt, and I felt that kind of introjected could cause disease. And I felt like there was these, I had the image of these barbed fish hooks that were in my cells that were like cancer, that I would be somehow hating myself so much for doing this. And once I sort of accepted the fact that, that this is what I had done, that I didn't want to keep repeating that pattern. I felt this burst of light, several like X-rays almost, that were like cleansing these darts, and then I saw this image of these fish hooks somehow or other moving out of the cells, and that then I could move on and try to lead a different kind of life.